Welcome to the AA Podcast, our little corner of the web where we are not afraid to discuss tough questions like,
when did nutrition, health, movement, and stress management become alternative medicine?
Where we embrace challenges in all aspects of life to become healthier and stronger versions of ourselves.
And where food and movement are the best kinds of medicine, and cooking meals at home is a revolutionary act. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the AA Podcast. This is Ashley Olson.
And I'm Andrea Crane.
We are back once again for another episode, and this one is one that we've actually been talking about doing for a little while, and we're just finally making it happen. But we are going to be talking about pantry supply, basically, and kitchen essentials that we find that we personally have in our pantry and what we feel like would set you guys up for good success. So before we do that, as always, we're going to start with our weekly Bible verse, and mine is coming from Matthew 6:19 and 20, and it says, "Do not lay up for yourselves treasures on earth, where moth and rust destroy, and where thieves break in and steal. But lay up yourselves treasures in heaven, where neither moth nor rust destroys, and where thieves do not break in and steal."
All right, and mine is coming from the very, very apocalyptic. It is the last two verses in the entire Bible, Revelation 20, I think it's 22, 21, and verse 20 and 21. And so, he which testifieth these things saith, Surely I come quickly. Amen. Even so, come, Lord Jesus. The grace of our Lord Jesus Christ be with you all. Amen.
Amen.
Okay.
All right, Andrea. So today's episode is all about the pantry and
Yeah.
what we personally have in ours and what we find to be like basically non-negotiables in
For
regards
sure.
to what we have on stock on a daily basis. And we
Yeah.
find these things to be extremely helpful when one is like, I don't feel like doing anything and I don't have the brain power to make anything. So what do I have? But we also, these are great quote unquote doomsday prep items where so for example, Andrea, back in
Ah.
Nampa in Idaho,
Uh-huh.
they had an accident in Nampa, and
Crazy.
a car ended up at a high speed and flipping and then landing on two houses,
Yes.
causing a
Yes.
major power outage.
On
And
the roof. Like, you
yeah,
have to say that. Landed on the roof, like, started off on the ground and then landed right in someone's roof. Now, fortunately, no one in the homes were hurt.
yeah,
Considerable amount of damage,
yep.
but yeah, like, we live on the edge out here, so I know it's twist.
So they were without
Mhm.
power, and if you're
Mhm.
without power, then some of these items would be really helpful to have on
Yeah.
hand just to make like a quick something. I don't know how
Yeah.
long you guys were, or I don't think you were without power,
No,
but
we weren't without power, but the people who were directly adjacent, it was like a good number of hours, if not a day. And I just feel like we're in the middle of winter, and I know we have ice storms around here. You guys have more snow, but
mhm,
there's certainly things that can happen, and I feel like so much of the time we are a little we focus so much on fresh food and fresh fruits and vegetables, and preparing meals from fresh food bought at the grocery store or grown in your yard, or the beef that you've got in the freezer, or those kinds of things, which is very idealistic, but sometimes life just doesn't match that. And
right,
so there's a cost savings associated with cooking out of your pantry. There's also, just straight up shelf life, right? Because you
mhm,
don't have to have all of these things are going to be shelf stable. And so, when you're at the grocery store, you can just take our list with you and then pick up a couple of things and mark them off every time that you go.
yep.
So, you can start stocking your pantry this way, and I promise you this will come in handy.
Yes. And look for a little guide here in either
Ooh,
I'm gonna hope to have it finished by the time this episode lands, but if not, look for it in the weekly email.
I
So
love
if
it.
you sign up for our weekly emails, you'll automatically get this guide in your inbox. If you aren't
Mhm,
already, then make sure that you get on that email list. I'll provide a link in the show notes for that. But we're going to just basically give you a checklist that helps you make
mhm,
sure that your pantry is ready. And maybe it's not anything that you have to buy, but you can go back and shop your pantry and be like, oh, yep, I have that.
mhm.
So don't need to add it to the list. But why don't we kind of start with carbohydrates? Those are
Well,
some.
I wanna say, first of all, the most important thing, like, we can give you all the lists in the world for what we think are essential,
Mhm.
but if your family will not eat something, if you will not eat something, it doesn't do you any good. Like, for instance, gosh, I will not eat Spam. I
Ew,
can't. It is so disgusting.
no.
Like, I and I will eat liver. I will eat all kinds of things. I will eat stuff with head still on. Like, I will
Bleh.
eat all kinds of stuff, okay? I'm a very, like, especially if I'm
Eccentric.
dared. Yeah. So I'll eat it. But I will not eat Spam. So if you had a whole pantry full of Spam, like, I'm still gonna starve because I'm not eating that. I'll just meet Jesus. Thank you very much. So first and foremost, it's gotta be stocked with the things that you and your family will eat. So before you go and spend money on pantry essentials, go through the list and say, okay, we would eat this, this, and this, but definitely not this. There's no one in here that would eat this. So
Yep.
just cross it out, tailor it to your own personal needs.
Absolutely, yeah. I remember when during COVID that we did like a stockpile, and I'm pretty sure
Mm-hmm.
we did a can or a case from Costco of green beans. I can tell you
Yeah.
today that those things did not get
Yep.
eaten and they were
Nope.
donated. So
Yep.
we do not
Yeah.
eat green beans in the can.
Yeah.
I
They're
hardly eat green
gross.
beans by themselves, but yeah, definitely not in the can. So those were
Mm-hmm.
not they were non-essential for us.
Yes. So actually that you bring up a good point too, because this is a phenomenal time. This is where, people in our communities are really stretched thin with regard
Mhm.
to energy bills and gas money and presents to buy for Christmas, and just the expenses that come along with this time of the year. So if you've got, this is a perfect time for you to go through your pantry and say, listen, I've got all this food that I know we're not going to eat. And so this is a perfect time to donate it to your local church or food pantry, or, whoever is providing food to the community in your area. So this is a great time to do that.
Absolutely. Great
Mm-hmm.
idea. Okay, so let's start with carbohydrates. So
Mm-hmm.
this one is pretty easy. I feel like the carbohydrates are the ones,
Oh, yeah.
carbohydrates and fats. Those are the ones that are
Right.
kind of easy and no brainers.
Yeah,
Um,
except that I wanted for us to have a list that was kind of double A approved.
oh right, yeah,
So
exactly.
so these are the double A approved. So you're not going to find any trash in here. Um, there's, now we'll get into it. There are some purists that are like, you can't eat beans. There's phytates and lectins. Okay, all right, but you can. You
You
can. You're not going
yeah,
to die, and they're actually a good source of anthocyanins. And like, beans are great. They've got amazing fiber. They've got amazing protein. They've got a lot of stuff in there that we can use. So anyway, I digress. So the first carbohydrate that's on the double A approved list here is quinoa.
yes.
Yeah.
Um, how do you cook your quinoa?
You know, I cook it very similarly to rice. I just boil it until it's ready, and I will, just like with rice, I don't like cooking rice in water. I cook it in broth, and you're gonna think I'm super Little House on the Prairie, but I took my tomato skins this year. Like, I ran tomatoes through a food mill when I was making tomato sauce and paste and, putting that up for the winter. And so I had all these beautiful skins that are organic and I've grown them. I know where they come from. There's a lot of nutrition in there. And so I dried them in the dehydrator.
Oh,
And then I ground them up into a powder, and I put them into any rice or grain that I'm making, and it's so good. It's really, really good. So,
okay.
yeah.
So I have tried cooking my rice in bone broth,
Okay, yes, I do that
and
too. Mhm.
I hated it.
Mm. Hmm?
It was
Why?
disgusting.
Wait. Okay, hang on. Let's autopsy this. So,
Yes.
what what kind of bone broth, first of all?
Chicken?
Large animal or small? Chicken?
Chicken?
Where'd you get the bones?
Well, I didn't. I got it. I bought it. I bought the bone broth.
Oh, that's the problem. Yeah. No, purchased bone broth, I don't like.
Okay.
Yeah, it's super, super expensive, and also I feel like the flavor is just gross.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I will drink the bone broth and I like it.
Hmm.
But I cooked my rice in it and I literally threw the rice away. It was
That's so
disgusting.
weird.
Yeah.
Huh.
So I'm willing to try
Interesting.
again, but I'm not
Yeah.
the only one because I put it on my stories and I had several people say, "Oh my gosh, thank you," because I felt like I was the
Huh.
only one that did not like it. So I'm just
Wow.
telling the people out there, if
Okay.
you try it and hate it, you're not the only one.
Okay, well, listen, it honestly it doesn't have to be like a pure bone broth. You can do, like, I like better than broth. If I don't have any bone broth around
You like better than bouillon?
or better than bouillon, yes,
Yep.
I will put, better than bouillon in with the water, either beef or chicken or whatever you've got, and that will be my flavoring, and I'll add some tomato powder on top of that. Yeah,
All right. Well, give it a
yeah,
try, people, and let us know
yep.
if you have a way that you like
Don't
it,
you
that Andrea
dare
does.
throw that bone broth out.
Oh,
Um,
I won't, but like,
mhm.
well, I did the
Yeah,
rice,
I
but
know.
okay. Yeah, quinoa. Quinoa is interesting. Like, it's not one that I
Mhm.
actually keep on hand. You know what? I just realized one that I don't know if it's on here, but it's chia seeds. That's another good one for the
Oh,
pantry.
I was sure I put chia on here. I
Did we do
didn't.
chia seeds?
Where's chia?
Looks like
Huh.
you froze.
Crazy. Yeah, we gotta put chia on here.
Yeah, chia seeds are great too. But yeah,
Mhm. I ate a lot of
quinoa
those.
quinoa is one that I don't honestly have on hand myself, but it is a great one. Um,
Mhm. Yeah,
and
go through some of those macros. There's some
yeah,
macros on here that we can share with you guys,
so
just because they're impressive.
yeah, so quinoa is a great one. So it's real low calorie. It's only for one 100-gram cooked or 3.5 ounces. It's only 120 grams, or sorry, 120 calories. And
Mhm.
it's 4.4 grams of protein, only 21 grams of carbs, with
Mhm.
almost 3 grams of fiber and very
Yeah.
minimal fat, 1.8 grams of fat. So it's
Mhm.
a great one. So, you could easily, we're going to get into it, but say you have some chicken cooked in your fridge, you could throw that on there. You could throw some ground beef on there. If you're flavoring it with tomato, you could probably pour a little bit of tomato sauce on
Mhm.
there, kind of create a little dish with that. Um, you could sprinkle some like freshly grated cheese on there with your meats. Like you could totally make a
Mhm.
little meal out of that, which is some on hand quinoa.
Yeah. One thing that I love to have quinoa with is I'll make it's kind of like a Thai peanut butter chicken, like,
Ooh.
oh, so good. And it's got some heat to it. And then you add this kind of neutral carb in the form of quinoa, and it just soaks up the peanut butter sauce, and it is amazing.
All right, I'm down for
So,
that.
yeah.
I like some Thai food.
Yes.
So one that I definitely have in my pantry at all times,
Mhm.
in whole form and in canned, is black beans for sure.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
usually have like some what are they called? Northern beans. Um,
Oh, Great Northern beans, like the
Great
white
Northern beans.
beans,
I
cannellini. Yeah.
Yep.
Mhm.
Garbanzo beans, red beans, like any
Mhm.
type of bean
Yeah,
that you
kidney, the little and the big, pinto beans, those are all
yes,
good, black-eyed
pintos.
peas.
Yes.
Um, and in fact, so this year I grew limas. And I have an entire jar of dried lima beans, which are really, really good, that I grew. And then I also have a jar of black beans that I grew this year. And I'm going to be
Nice.
expanding that next year. So,
Very
yeah, you
awesome.
can definitely grow your own dried beans.
Yeah. So those are great. Having refried beans on hand too. Like that's just such a
Mhm.
quick like I love to just get a tortilla, put it on a skillet, basically butter up the tortilla with my refried beans. So not
Mhm.
butter, but
Yeah.
you just kind of and then put it on a protein, and then you could do some cheese, some salsa, green
Mhm.
chili, like such an
Yep.
easy such an easy meal.
Yeah.
And so with beans, like a half cup cooked, we're
Mhm.
also talking really low calorie with a great punch of nutrients. But
Mhm.
we are talking 114 calories, 8 grams of
Yeah.
protein. Now, Andrea, are these complete protein?
No, they aren't. But if you
Okay.
throw some rice in, they will be complete
Okay.
proteins.
There you
Mhm.
go. So 20
And
grams
when
of
we say okay, so I'm sorry, I just have to say, people get really stuck on this. Um, unless you're vegetarian or vegan and you don't have animal sources of protein in your diet,
mhm.
you don't need to worry, you don't need to fixate on the incomplete proteins, okay? So what beans have in them will be made up for because think about this, it's not like you've got this it's not like you've got whole proteins floating around in your body. You have an amino acid pool. So literally you have this entire giant reservoir that's filled with, let's say, paper clips as our amino acids, right? And so we need all the different colors of paper clips, which will be all the different amino acids that we need in order to form our body's proteins. Now, if you're eating beans, you're only going to get a certain number of colors of paper clips. You're not going to get all the colors of paper clips. Whereas if you eat beef, if you eat whey protein, even if you eat pea protein, I think that's nearly complete.
It's
Um,
missing one. Yes.
okay, yeah. So you are going to get every single color with an animal based protein. Um, but it's still going into a pool, right? So if you have rice at some point later on that day and you have beans in the morning, so what? Yeah, I mean, it's not something that needs to occupy a whole lot of space in your brain if you're eating a fairly balanced, healthful diet.
Okay. Like again, I said half cup cooked. It's
Mhm.
114 calories, 8 grams of protein,
Mhm.
only 20 carbs, with seven of those being fiber and
Yep.
zero fat. So this is a really, really great one of my favorite meals is to do like a half cup of black beans or any type of bean, but half a cup
Mhm.
of black beans is my favorite. I'll do whatever protein, so chicken or ground beef or even ground turkey.
Mhm.
Throw on a salsa. I love green chili, so I usually do a green
Mhm.
chili, and I'll even throw in some cottage cheese on there.
Yep.
Warm that up into a bowl. Oh my gosh, it's so flavorful, so good. And
Yeah.
it's really easy for like those pack and go lunches.
Yep.
That's like a great one to like meal prep at the beginning of the week. Just have like
Mhm.
five things of Tupperware or Pyrex and
Yeah.
just portion it all out, and you're set for the for a lunch.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
that's a
And
really good one.
as with all other plant foods, the more brightly colored, the more flavonoids that the plant is going to contain. So for instance, black beans, they are heavily, heavily colored. So that's going to contain tons of, like I mentioned earlier, it's called anthocyanins. That's what gives blueberries their color. It also gives black beans their color. So these are really, really powerful phytonutrients that the body uses. So yeah, and some other ones that you might be aware of are berberine. That's
Uh,
another one.
yep.
So we're talking about these extracts from plants that that contribute to that bright color. So we're looking for like red beans, right? That's
Yep.
phenomenal. Um, and yeah, so pick brightly colored stuff.
And if you like Southern food, red beans and rice.
Absolutely.
So then you
Absolutely.
get your
Yeah.
complete protein.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, so next one is
I
lentils.
love these little guys.
So what would be your go-to lentil?
Well, so I have a recipe for a slow cooker lentil dish, and if you guys just get out there on the Googles and just Google up like a slow cooker lentil recipe with tomato. Or tomato sauce in it, then you can almost come up with like a spaghetti sauce
Mm,
made out of lentils instead of like a ground beef. You could totally put ground beef in here. But if you're looking for a way to kind of change things up and eat out of the pantry, then yeah, you can absolutely make a spaghetti sauce that has lentils in it. And let's see, I will typically put that over like I just cooked 2 or 4. I think I've cooked 4 spaghetti squash here the other day. And so I froze most of it and then just kept some spaghetti squash out. And then I have pasta sauce that I canned from the summer, and then I will put I could put lentils in that, or I could put my ground beef in there.
awesome.
So, yeah, all of this lentils are phenomenal. And lentils, so again, every all of these are going to be around 120 calories per half a cup. That's
Yep.
kind of the bottom line there. So, lentils no different except that for protein, they actually have 9 grams of protein in that half cup serving. So, if you had a cup of lentils, I know that's a little hard to that's a crap ton of lentils. But if you had a cup of lentils, it would be nearly 20 grams of protein, which is
That's amazing.
oh, yes, that
Well,
is
even if you did
attractive.
a half cup, like 9 grams of protein,
Yeah,
I mean,
that's yeah.
especially if you did pair it with
Mhm.
another type of protein, like
Yep.
that's just bumping up your protein for the day, which
Yeah,
as you already
absolutely.
know, if you're already struggling with getting protein up, like these are really
Mhm.
easy ways to just add in some protein with extra flavor and volume
Right.
and better fiber sources.
Yep, absolutely.
So,
And so speaking of fiber, this has 20 grams of carbs, lentils, speaking of, and then nearly 8 grams of fiber, so 7.9. So about
and
8
zero fat.
grams of fiber and 0 fat.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, love it. So another ezy one, rice. Like
Yeah,
I literally
that's a
have a
go-to.
bag and a half of basmati rice in my pantry right now.
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
also have a bag of pinto beans, I think.
Mm.
So
Yeah,
like
yum.
those are just easy. Um, you cook yours with bone broth?
Rice, yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah.
I don't, but I will try it again.
Yeah.
I've actually never made my own bone broth, so I need to do that. But yeah, just cook that up. In fact, I
Mhm.
cooked it up earlier this week. I have a Pyrex of cooked rice, and I
Yep.
this week I was doing rice with ground beef, um, and oh, cottage cheese, and
Mm.
some I think that's all I was doing. The cottage cheese, for me helps, like, cream it up, so you
Oh,
and then you
yeah,
can just
it's huge.
throw on some taco sauce or
Yeah.
taco fajita seasoning,
And if
and,
you're
like, they're
dairy
really good.
free, avocado will do the same thing. So
Yeah,
if you're dairy free and you're looking for something kind of that creamy mouthfeel, then
yep,
avocado will absolutely do that. And if you're pressed for time, like you don't have to go pick the perfect avocados from the grocery store. You can just go and there are tons of guacamole formulations that
yeah,
are nothing but avocado. So you can get those and some of them have spices in it, and sometimes it's just mashed avocado. So
yep,
whatever you like.
mhm. Yeah, my favorite one, I actually get the guacamole cups,
Yeah,
from
the holy
Costco, and it's
guacamole.
I get the Kirkland brand because it's
Oh, okay.
only avocado and salt. That's the
Yeah,
only ingredients in
yeah.
them. So I love that. But yeah, you can have those on hand, and yeah, it'd make a
Mhm.
really good little
Mhm.
lunch or dinner for that.
Yeah.
And then again, we already mentioned it, but chia seeds.
Yep.
Those are great. Like, you can do some overnight oats. So we're gonna get
Mhm.
to oats next too, but oats with chia seeds and some
Mhm.
yogurt and some protein powder. You could throw literally whatever in there and have a
Yeah.
great little balanced overnight oats.
What I do with chia, I will put them in, either cottage cheese as a base or Greek yogurt, plain Greek yogurt. Then I have all of these berries that we drown in berries around here in my yard, and so I freeze them or I put them away in cans, right? So I'll can them. So I've got lots of that, and I will add the berries, like a bunch of handful of frozen raspberries into the yogurt or cottage cheese, and then I will add a little bit of milk and 2 to 3 tablespoons of chia, and I will stir that up and maybe add some stevia and toss it in the fridge, and then by the next day it's ready for me to take to lunch.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. And I was trying to look up the nutrition. So, 2.5 tablespoons of chia seeds is about 140 calories, which 2.5
Mhm.
tablespoons, that is a
That's a
lot.
ton. Yeah.
Like, I would
You
not
will be so
recommend
full.
I would not recommend that much. Like, I would
Oh,
recommend maybe a
that's what I eat.
tablespoon. Oh, you do? Okay.
Uh-huh.
That's a lot. But it's 5
It,
grams of
you
protein, 10 grams
go
of
low.
fiber,
Yeah,
and
go
9
low,
grams of
start
fat.
slow.
Yeah. Um, I usually do like a tablespoon in my overnight oats because there's other
Mhm.
stuff in my overnight oats than just chia seeds. So,
Hey, I'm sorry I interrupted you. How much protein's in there?
5 grams,
Okay, and then how much fiber?
10.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah.
So you're getting some really good sources of fiber with your chia
Mhm.
seeds. So,
Mhm.
um, you can do like a look it up on like Pinterest or the Google, but do a chia seed pudding.
Pudding.
I've seen,
Yeah. Mhm.
and I
I
think
have
that's real.
tons of recipes for that, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
super simple, easy. You can do them, make them ahead of time,
Mhm.
um, and have them ready for a snack or a breakfast even.
Yeah.
Oats. So I keep these on hand. My go-to lately, I think we talked about it on another podcast, but I've been doing a scoop of protein powder with my oats in the morning.
Mhm.
I'll either do that for my actual breakfast or my second breakfast.
Yes.
I love my second
Second
breakfast.
breakfast, yes.
Yes, second breakfast is
Mm.
where it's at.
Uh-huh.
But it's also a great post-workout. So if
Mhm.
I do a morning workout, which is my preferred time to work out, I'll have my protein oats after.
Mhm.
And it's just perfect. But
Yeah.
1 cup of oats, about 166 calories, 6 grams of protein, 28 carbs, 4 grams of fiber, 3.6 grams of fat.
Yep.
And if you're gluten free, you can find gluten free oats. So
Mhm.
there's definitely some options there, depending on your needs.
Yep.
And then
And then
for
let's do pasta. Let's do
oh
pasta
yeah,
next.
pasta. So I don't keep gnocchi on hand. Um, I love gnocchi, and we were funny that you had this on the list because we were talking about it last night. I was like, oh my gosh, I need to go to Trader Joe's because they have
Mhm.
amazing gnocchi options. But the Trader Joe's is not really convenient for me where I usually
Mm.
am at.
Right.
So I don't get over there. But yeah, gnocchi is a great one. And then I like to keep like chickpea pasta on
Mhm.
hand. Do you have a favorite brand? Because I know Bonza
I
kinda
used
got
to
I know, Bonza kinda got,
until they're trying to
um
poison me with heavy metals. Yeah,
yeah,
bonsai is out. They are
yes.
out.
Yep.
I don't know. I haven't really been able to swap that yet. I think there are some store brands, but I'm a little gun shy because
They could be made
who
by
knows?
Bonza.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
they absolutely could. That's what a lot of these big manufacturers do is they'll just relabel for grocery
But
stores.
I have had black bean pasta, I've
Mhm. Yeah.
had red lentil
Lentil.
pasta,
Yep.
and those are
Yep.
really good. So,
Yeah.
actually, I was shocked that I actually like those because they
Yeah.
are obviously in a weird color because 'cause they're
That's
black
right.
or red,
Yep.
but they actually tasted really good. But,
Yeah.
if you can find a good chickpea pasta source, that would be great, but
Mhm.
if you can handle wheat, like, I love a good wheat pasta to
Yeah.
have on hand. Um, I actually really like ra is how do you say it? Rouse, raise?
Oh,
RAO.
Rao. I always thought it was Rao, but I don't know. RAO.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love their pasta sauce, but they make a good pasta. Um,
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure
so
they do. Yeah, so with pasta, I always have to get the gluten-free stuff. I like Jovial. That's like kind of my favorite that is widely available in a dried form, and it's got a great shelf life. And so, yeah, that's what I do. I do try to opt for a little higher protein options on pasta, but it doesn't hurt to have some non-perfect pasta around. So,
absolutely. And
yeah.
if you're really, really Betty Homemaker, then make your own.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, go for it. I would honestly, yeah, I would rather stick something sharp in my eye than make my own pasta. Mhm.
And then some sweets that you can kind of keep on hand. Obviously, a great one is maple syrup, and of course, if you
Mhm.
can get locally sourced, that's even more delicious. Same
Oh yeah.
for honey. Make sure that it's
Yeah.
local.
Yeah,
Um,
local honey is super easy to find, and you're supporting people who are supporting bees that in turn support local agriculture. So it's just good. If you can find somebody locally, plus your immune system really, really likes local honey. If you suffer from allergies, seasonal
mhm,
rhinitis, seasonal allergies, then local honey is almost like low dose immunotherapy
mhm.
for local allergies. So it's fantastic.
And if you can find it too, local bee pollen is amazing for
Yep.
allergies too. So
Yep.
my grandpa takes a spoonful of bee pollen every day.
Oh,
Yeah,
great. I
and he
love it.
swears by it.
Mhm.
And then obviously having your sugar on hand, like
Yeah.
obviously regular sugar, date
Yeah.
sugar, which I've never
Sometimes
had.
the kids just want you to make cookies and you just got to do it. So,
Yep.
having sugar on hand I think is something that, I is it perfect? Is sugar the devil? Well, kind of. But if
Everything in
you're yeah,
moderation.
exactly. If you're making cookies a couple times a month, who cares? Your kids are
Yeah,
going to mow them up anyway.
yeah. Date sugar, which is that?
Mhm.
How does that taste? Like, I've never had it.
It's okay. It's okay. It's kinda like, I actually prefer date sugar to coconut sugar. Coconut sugar, I'm not super, super high on. It's not very sweet, and I'm kind of wondering what it wants to be.
Mm,
Um, but it's a thing, and
yeah.
so I have probably every kind of sweetener known to man in my pantry somewhere. Um, yeah, just for the odd but in fact, I even have, like, stevia powdered sugar, because I was gonna make something. I can't even remember what I was gonna make. I think I was making, like, some kind of raspberry syrupy something or other with all those raspberries I've got. So, yeah, there's tons and tons of different kinds of sugars. There are low-calorie sugar options, like I've already mentioned stevia. I have a jar of green stevia powder in my pantry because I grew stevia this year, which is crazy, and then I, dehydrated the leaves. I sound like a nut as I'm listening to myself. But anyway, I dehydrated the leaves and then I ground it all up in an old coffee like grinder, and it's so sweet. It's crazy.
Wow,
I'm gonna use it in smoothies. Yeah,
that's
it's
awesome.
amazing. Yeah,
And
Sh- sugar
erythritol.
alcohols. Yep,
Yeah,
erythritol.
monk
Um,
fruit.
uh-huh, and then allulose is kinda having a moment right now. I don't know a ton about that. I don't have any of that, but I do have the monk fruit, erythritol, and then there's another sugar alcohol that I've got. I don't recommend, big amounts, but, if I usually drink black coffee, but sometimes I just want, like, a fancy coffee. So, I will put, like, some half and half in there. And this will probably happen a couple times a month. I'll put some half and half in, and then I will put some kind of low calorie sweetener in there, like a stevia, sometimes maybe an erythritol. I don't know. But anyway, I don't recommend a ton of sweet taste um, on a regular basis because it miscalibrates your taste buds, and then you go back to eating normal fruit, and the sweetness of that just doesn't impress after you've had a lot of other kinds of sweet.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes, go ahead.
blackstrap molasses. Do you have any of this at home?
No.
Girl, okay, so I actually had a patient remind me of this the other day. I, um I am going to start recommending this. So her ferritin levels had jumped considerably, and it's really, really difficult to get iron back into someone. The body really is pretty finicky about absorbing it, and so her ferritin, she had done such a good job, and I always ask like, "Hey, what are you doing? What are you taking?" And she was like, "I take desiccated organs and like liver, desiccated liver, and then I also take blackstrap molasses every day." And I'm like, "Ah, holy cow, I totally forgot there was iron in that." So yeah, I'm gonna start recommending that as
So
like an
this says it
adjunct.
has no nutritional value
Yeah, well.
and it has iron, calcium, magnesium, potassium,
Mhm.
and phosphorus. And one for ounce, blackstrap molasses contains more iron than eggs,
Yeah.
more calcium than milk, and more potassium than any other food.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's what we make gingerbread with, right? Like that's what gingerbread cookies, that's what gives them that like dark syrupy kind of sweetness that's not sweet sweet, right?
So, obviously, if you don't have an iron deficiency, be careful taking it on a regular
I
basis
don't think
or
so. I
okay,
don't think so because we don't tell people to be careful with eating liver.
true.
So yeah, I say go for it.
So
I
is
am
this a
going to.
replacement for a liver?
No, no, not a replacement for liver. No, look at you over there scheming. No, no, eat the liver, people.
I'm
Um,
trying, people. I'm trying.
no, but listen, if you and I think I'm remembering this right, but if you look at um, some of the people who have been the real shakers in functional nutrition, it has come out the importance of sulfur and sulfur containing fruits and vegetables. These are things like cruciferous, like the things in the broccoli family, the things in the collard green family and such. So sulfur, it's huge to be able to get sulfur containing veggies. Mushrooms are high in sulfur. I believe blackstrap molasses is very high in sulfur.
Okay.
I might be wrong. I need
I'll
to
look it
Google
up.
that
But I just
before I
saw
talk.
this that does it help in reversing gray hair? And it
What?
says, yes, it may turn premature gray hair
Well,
back
you
to
know
the normal
why.
color
That's the iron.
because the
Yeah.
iron.
People who are anemic, yeah, they will prematurely gray.
Interesting. All
Mhm.
right. Well,
Mhm.
there you go. Another
Yeah.
magic food right there.
Yep, absolutely.
Do you want to add? I kind of added it to the list, but do you want to talk about flowers?
Yeah, so that's a good call there. I have, let's see, I'm trying to think. I've got gluten-free flours. I just ordered a couple more boxes of Namaste gluten-free flour because Costco had it on sale. So I ordered it online. And that I think is always good to have. If you are not gluten-free and you don't have to be, then just your mileage may vary. I wouldn't get flour if you never make anything with flour, but honestly, like you can't make a good roux without flour. So if you're thickening sauces, you can do it with cornstarch, but you know, there's something about a flour-based roux that is just yeah, it's pretty hard to duplicate. Um so I do like having some flours on hand. I have tapioca flour, I have almond flour, I have white rice or brown rice flour. So yeah, all those different kinds of flours if you're doing especially gluten-free baking, but it may not be necessary for everyone.
Okay. Um. All right. I think this list can go somewhat fast.
Yeah.
Fat, fast,
Yeah. Yep.
fast fats.
Fast fats. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So some that I have coconut, I have
Mhm.
olive, I have ghee,
Oils. We're
I
talking
have
oils. Mhm.
I have some nuts. I
Yeah.
don't have tallow right now, but it's on the list to get. I have tallow for
Mhm.
my face. I don't have tallow to eat.
Oh, yeah. Mhm.
And then I don't have any lard, and I don't have any red palm oil. So the list is coconut oil,
Mhm.
avocado oil, olive oil, red palm oil, ghee,
Mhm.
lard, tallow.
Duck fat,
Oh, duck fat.
uh-huh,
Uh,
and lard.
yeah, you have lard.
Oh, I have lard.
And then
Yeah,
nuts and then olives.
yeah.
Um,
And also just having regular old coconut.
yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I think I put that somewhere else too. But anyway, yeah, so those are the fats. And really the only thing that I wanted to say here, because as people, seed oils, oh my gosh, this discussion is everywhere now, which
Yeah.
I'm glad about. We
Mhm.
need to get these inflammatory fats out. Um, but people are wondering, like, okay, if you've got someone that's used to eating a standard American diet, right? All the boxes that they are going to make for dinner, for brownies, for, whatever they're making out of a box, if it calls for oil, then it's vegetable oil that they've got in their
Or
pantry. And that's
canola
what they're
oil.
exactly. And so they're wondering, like, well, how do I don't want to put olive oil in my brownies. So here's the thing, if you are making something sweet and you need a neutral oil, use either coconut or avocado. Okay,
Mhm.
I take coconut oil in its solid form. I put it in the microwave, in a glass container, and I melt whatever I need. And so then I will put that into, keto pancakes or whatever I happen to be making with that. So
Mhm.
coconut and avocado are okay for sweet stuff.
Mhm.
Then olive, red palm, ghee, animal fats, all of that is good for the savory. So there's something for everybody here. So no matter
Mhm.
what you need to cook, you don't have to revert to a seed oil.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah. And then
So
nuts
yeah,
and olives are great sources of fats. I would also put nut butters on here, although I've got those under accessories too, because they're so calorically dense,
yes.
that it's important
And
that.
remember, folks,
Whew,
nut
yeah.
butters or peanut butter is not a
No,
protein.
it is not. No.
So do not come at us and say you eat a ton
Mm-hmm.
of protein and tell us that you're eating nuts
Yeah.
because we
Yeah.
will back
Yeah.
you
They're
down
fats.
real fast.
They're fats. They're fats.
So some proteins that you can keep on hand in your
Mm-hmm.
pantry. These are great ones. So tuna, chicken, uh, sardines. Go for it, Andrea.
Yes.
Jerky. What is
Mm-hmm.
pemmican?
Pemmican. So pemmican is a form of jerky. I think it may be indigenous to the Americas. So some of the native tribes would make pemmican, but it's like a fruit, and it's almost like a jerky where they put fruit in it. So you could do
Interesting.
like buffalo cranberry and
Hmm,
dry it, and it's pretty cool. Yeah,
that's
people
awesome.
are people are making this stuff.
All right. Um, and then protein powders. We
Mhm.
always have a whey protein powder,
Yep.
some shakes, and some bars. We've been kind of on a Fairlife protein kick lately, so we swapped out our Premier proteins with the Fairlife ones.
Mhm.
I like
Mhm.
the ingredients better. They're not perfect,
Yeah,
but
I
they
do
are
too.
better, and it is a whey protein instead of
Yeah.
a
Casein.
casein protein. So
Yeah.
um, if you don't know what we're talking about there, we have previous episodes on protein and we
Yep.
talk about this. And then obviously we are big proponents of collagen. And those are just really good shelf stable items that you can
Mhm.
keep on or in your pantry, um,
Mhm.
and just
But
make
as
sure that you're
always, collagen does not count towards your protein total. So,
right.
when you have a goal of like 100 or 120 grams of protein a day, collagen does not count in that goal. Is it important? Is it critical? Yes, it is. But it is not to count for your protein total.
So Andrea, just
Yes.
being the
I know.
thinker
Devil's
that I
advocate.
am, devil's
Uh-huh.
advocate. So earlier you mentioned that black beans or
Mhm.
beans are not a complete protein, but don't worry
Yep.
about it if you have another
That's
rice at
right.
the end of the day. Why
That's
why are
right.
you harping on collagen?
Why am I indeed? So collagen is made, oh man, you're straining my memory here. Collagen is made from glycine. I think it has a high level of glycine in it. There are like only like two or three amino acids that make up collagen. And so it is such a minuscule amount of amino acids that it contributes just those 3
So, yes,
to
it
the
says
pool.
3 is a triple helix. Is
'Kay.
that right?
Huh, huh,
So,
huh.
it's composed of 3 the chains are
Triple
wound
peptide,
together to
maybe?
form a triple helix.
Okay.
Since glycine is the smallest of all of the
Glycine.
amino
Yeah.
acid, it allows the chain to form tight configurations and can
Mhm.
withstand stress.
So
Um,
here's the thing about collagen. This is the bottom line. It and I've always said this, but then Huberman said it because I didn't know if, like, am I crazy? But this is just what it seems like. But then Huberman said it, and I'm like, okay, I feel vindicated. He's much smarter than I am. So if we come to the same conclusion, then that's pretty solid. Um, there's something about collagen that it seems to target tissue, like hair, joints, and skin. And
mhm,
so it's like the body has this pool of the other amino acids that it'll use for anything, right? But the collagen seems to get specifically drawn out to help with those target tissues like hair and joints and skin and nails. Okay.
mhm.
So I like to think of that collagen input as something different than the protein amino acid pool that sort of everybody in the body dips in and can use. Does that make sense?
I believe so, yes.
It's almost like it's separate.
Mhm.
So anyway,
So
but yeah,
yeah.
that's why.
Yeah, but like Andrew said, we definitely recommend it for those
Mhm. Yeah.
benefits. We just don't count it
Yeah.
towards our daily whole protein intake. But yeah, like I mean, if you're a shopper at Costco, like go to Costco, get the cases of tuna, chicken. I
Mhm.
think they actually have sardines in the
Yes,
can.
they do. Mhm.
And then you can get their jerky. You can get their whey protein. They
Mhm.
at our Costco, I don't know if they do at yours. They sell the Ascent protein, which I'm a
Mm.
big fan of. I love the ingredients of that. And then, like we mentioned, the Fairlife protein drinks are
Mhm.
amazing. They do have collagen at Costco if that's an easy way for you to buy it. There are cheaper
Yeah.
methods usually, unless Costco
Mhm.
has it on sale. But yeah, those
I
are
got
just
it
some
in sale
really
from Costco the last time. Mhm.
yeah, so like those are some really great ones that you can just kind of save into your pantry. And then, like Andrea mentioned earlier, we have some accessory, like the fun stuff that
Mhm.
we can keep in the pantry. And this first one, spices. We've talked about
Huge.
it before. It is a huge one that can
Mhm.
help make or break your meal prep because I think the
Mhm.
biggest thing for people is that they get bored of the taste. And
Right.
if you can add spices to
Mhm.
your meal prepping, even after you've cooked it. So, like I mentioned earlier, I would do black beans, cottage cheese, and like my ground beef or ground turkey or chicken, whatever
Mhm.
I've cooked up. I'll add additional spices on top of that, and once I warm it up, it
Yeah.
has a new flavor profile. I've
Yeah.
cooked my meat in a spice, but if I want just a little extra, then I add it to it. So spices can be huge, and like Andrea noted, get organic whenever possible,
Mm. Because
and look
these are
for
concentrated. Dried spices are concentrated, and they're also, generally speaking, they are leaves. And
yeah.
so you've got a double whammy. If pesticides are being used, and they generally are, then that will collect on the leaf and aerial surfaces of a plant, and then you further concentrate that by drying it. And
Mm.
so, yeah, it's just get organic whenever you can. And listen, don't get those tiny little things. I know the bottles are cute at the grocery store. I always get spices, especially the ones that I use a ton of. I'm thinking cumin, coriander, garlic salt or garlic powder, onion powder or granules. Like the stuff I use a ton of paprika, um what else? Rosemary, thyme, oregano. Although I'm growing quite a lot of spices now, but before I was, get on Amazon, get a reputable brand, and then get a bag of organic, and then you can just keep refilling your containers.
There you go.
Mhm.
And be careful too, like if you get like a taco spice, they like to add fillers into those.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
So if you can
Make your
like
own.
make your own, they're not that hard, or like just throw them all together
Yep. Yep.
when you're doing it. Another one we love is granolas or cereals.
Mhm.
One that I get from Costco a lot, it's Nutrail, I think it's called.
Mhm.
It's branded as keto, but the one that I really love is their dried blueberry and cinnamon one.
Oh,
I'll throw
nice.
that onto my yogurts, and oh, so
Mhm.
good.
Yeah.
Dried fruits, so raisins, dates, prunes, apricots, cherries, mangoes. So with dried fruits, talk to us about that because it changes the nutritional profile of, a little bit, and typically there's sugar added.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you gotta be careful with dried fruits, and a lot of times it's either very difficult or very cost prohibitive to find just dried fruits. So,
Mm,
obviously, I would suggest if you have the ability to dry your own or dehydrate your own, do that. Short of that, it's just kinda nice. You don't need a ton of these things, but it's just kinda nice to add, like, a sprinkle to your oatmeal,
mm,
or to add a sprinkle of these things to, if you've got chia pudding,
yeah.
that is fantastic to put these things in. Also, dates are huge. If you there are so many, like, little dessert bites that are,
Yep.
kinda keto
Oh,
approved. Ugh,
so for
coconut oil.
yeah, for
Yeah.
Thanksgiving, I made bacon wrapped feta stuffed
Oh, that's right.
dates. Oh,
That sounds so
they were
unbelievable.
so
Yeah,
freaking good.
yeah.
So yeah, you can do that. This last summer when my nephews were in town, they love apricots, and so
Mhm.
we bought some dried apricots from Costco. And the
Mm.
ones from Costco, it is literally just dried apricots. They do not have
Yeah,
sugar. The I think they're the organic ones, and they're the Kirkland
right.
brand. So those are pretty good. They're still high in sugar. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
You don't need a
yeah,
lot of them, but
right.
like Andrew said, you could chop them up and put them in your yogurt or your chia pudding, and just
Yeah.
add a little bit of extra flavor there.
Mhm.
Dried peppers. I don't think I've
Oh, I
ever
love
had
those
dried
giant
peppers.
dried Mexican peppers,
Oh
those
yeah,
chilies, that
yes.
you rehydrate. Gosh, I had so many tomatoes this year. I was, like, racking my brain trying to figure out what to make and can with these tomatoes. So, I stumbled upon, like, an incredible enchilada sauce recipe
Ooh,
that used a ton of these giant dried Mexican peppers, and, yeah, I've got a ton of those, and they're usually, like, real, reddish brown and leathery. You've seen them in the store. Go ahead and get some of those. I know they're a little bit scary if you haven't worked with them, like, you don't know what to do with them, but literally all you do is you soak them in warm water, and then you add them to a blender and make almost like a mole kinda thing, and then you just add them back into your enchilada sauce. That's what makes enchilada sauce.
okay.
And, ugh, it's so good. But yeah, you can add these to all kinds of Mexican cooking, which I could live on Mexican food. I know you could too.
Yeah,
Um,
it's the best.
yeah, so they
Um,
flavor things up.
yep. So dried coconut, obviously,
Mhm.
sprinkle that on your yogurt or chia pudding. I mean,
Yes.
you could do so much with
Yes.
that. And then of course we mentioned before the nut butters.
Mhm.
I don't know if you want to expand on that, but there's so many nut butters that you can find. And look at the ingredients too. We buy some nut butters from Costco. Their peanut butter is actually really nice. It's literally just
Mhm.
peanut butter and salt in
Yeah.
the ingredients, whereas some of the other peanut butter brands they add a bunch of crap in it. And then
Yeah, a
fruit.
lot will add hydrogenated oil, so people get
Hmm.
upset because there's oil on the top of their nut butter, but the reason that the oil separates is because they didn't put hydrogenated, terrible for you oils in there
Yep.
to mix everything and emulsify it. So it's actually good.
Yeah, and if you actually store it upside down,
Yep.
that'll make it better.
Mhm.
Fruit compotes.
Uh, sorry. Yeah, so this is another thing that where, if you come across, either grow it yourself, or if you have farms nearby, or people
Oh,
that grow fruit nearby, or there's big sales at the store and you can get like a lot of fruit for cheap, then you can cook it down and make sauces with very
mm,
little sugar. And then you can either freeze it, or for shelf stability, can it. So
yep.
I have blueberry, raspberry, nectarine, peach. I'm trying to think. Normally I will have some apple, but I lost a lot of fruit this year to
Didn't you grow
a
lingonberries,
frost.
or is that next year?
No, that is next year. I've got a bunch of berries. Currants. Currants. I
Oh,
had a lot of
mhm.
currants. I had an elderberry.
Oh, yeah.
I made an elderberry compote. Yeah, there's tons of stuff that you can do with that. But it's a way to preserve um nutritious food for later on that might spoil otherwise.
Yep. And then pickled items, which are my least favorite,
Oh, I love these. You're crazy.
but onions,
Onions,
capers, artichokes are
capers are amazing.
I do
Oh
like
my
capers on
gosh.
certain things.
Ugh, capers are so good. So capers go really, really well with sardines. So you want Ashley. So you want
I was
like
gonna
that
say
that
salmon, but
Okay. Okay. Well, if you don't want a giant bioaccumulator of mercury, then eat sardines and just sprinkle some capers over the top. Like if you're making a sardine salad, um, sprinkle capers over, and that brine like cuts through the fatty fish. It's so good. It's so good. So,
and then coffee, of course, if you know either
yes.
one of us, Andrea more so than me,
Okay.
but I love coffee. I've had
Yeah.
3,
Yeah.
4 cups today.
Oh yeah, at
Um,
least.
do
Listen,
you use
people,
Cool
I
Eddie?
have to okay, I just have to put this shout out. My absolute favorite coffee company, coffee brand in the whole entire world they're called Cool Yeti, and I'm telling you, these bags, like, I'm trying to figure out a way to frame one of these bags and get the wrinkles out of it because their logo is so cool.
Oh,
They
it's so
don't have merch yet, but yeah, their coffee is insane. I get the red package, not the blue. I like
it's
the
the
red a little better
medium.
than the blue. Yeah. I like the medium roast. It's just so smooth.
Alright.
It is transportive. Like,
So
yeah.
ours is New Mexico Pinion Coffee. It is
Oh
also
yeah,
a
we used to get a lot of that.
medium roast, and that is our definitely go-to. We get it at Costco here.
Yeah.
I know all Costcos don't have it, but
Yeah, they don't have
it's
it here.
yeah, it is remarkable.
Mhm. That is
We
good coffee.
every time somebody comes to our house, they're like, "Oh my gosh, what kind of coffee do you have?" And so then they are on the
Yeah.
hunt to buy it. Actually, my sister-in-law, she's like, "What kind of coffee was that?" She's from Canada. And so I
Mhm.
told her, and I was like, "Our neighbor buys it on Costco or on Amazon, sorry." And
Ah.
so I was like, "Look it up." And so she did. It was $128 a bushel
What?
to get
Oh
it
my
to
gosh.
Canada.
And that
She's like, I think that's a little over my
Yeah.
budget."
And that
Um,
was the cheap stuff at Costco, like, that's why we started drinking it when we were in Colorado, but it was so good that we just kept buying it.
yeah, it is so good.
It's
So
Mhm.
yeah, if you have, either one of those, well, you can, both you can buy
Cool Yeti
online,
is an
but
Idaho company,
okay,
and you can get on it's coolyeti.com,
yeah,
and it's just COOLYETI.com, and yeah, give them some love. They're an amazing company. They give to some extraordinary charities, with a percentage of every single one of their purchases,
that's awesome.
we're not sponsored by them, I just love them. So, yeah, shout out for Cool Yeti.
And then vinegars, I guess
Mhm.
maybe like some apple cider vinegar, or
Yeah.
what are you talking about?
Oh my gosh, I probably have 6 different kinds of vinegars right now. Sherry vinegar, that's a must-have. Sherry, red wine, white
Uh,
wine,
yep.
um, oh gosh, rice, you've gotta have
Oh, yeah,
rice
has that.
vinegar. That's just a really mild vinegar. I also have just plain old straight white vinegar. Um,
What kind of
Boy,
apple cider
tarragon.
vinegar are you buying these days?
Well, I just gosh darn it. It's in the kitchen right now, and I can kinda see it. I can't remember. I can't remember the name. I'm not getting Bragg's anymore. Um, shoot. Yeah,
Um,
I can't remember. We'll have to come
is
up with
it
that for the show
Fairchild?
notes. Might be. Might be. I'll have to look online. But anyway, we'll come up with that for the show notes. Um, but yeah, I don't recommend Bragg's anymore. But there are other companies that make a really good apple cider vinegar. And you want it, it's called With the Mother, and
Oh, yeah.
that's the
Basically the
the
pulp.
yeah, it's like a kombucha goo that's at the
Yeah,
bottom.
yeah.
So yeah, it's good.
And then, of course, another one, hot sauces, salsas. Those are just so good to have
Mhm.
on hand. We have a slew of them in our
Mhm.
pantry. And you can literally go to the sauce aisle, hot sauce aisle, and just
Yep.
have your gay, um,
Yeah.
have your pick at them. Powders. Oh, like a matcha or mushroom
Yep.
powder.
Yeah, oh,
Yeah.
matcha is another really good one. I also so mushroom powder. I like adaptogenic herbs. I like to just have some powders on hand. So I will have cacao is one that I really like to
Oh,
have
yeah.
on hand,
Hmm.
and I'll either do like a cacao powder or cacao nibs. I like the nibs because they have more fiber in them and they're more a whole food than the powdered ones. But I'll eat both. Maca is a really powerful adaptogen. I use this in women who are having vasomotor symptoms but can't tolerate or don't want estrogen. So yeah, there's just a lot of uses for these things. But yeah, adaptogenic or functional powders. I'll just
Yeah.
call them.
So that kind of wraps up the food portion of what we would keep in our pantry. Obviously, this
Mm-hmm.
is a lot, and it sounds like, oh my gosh, like I don't know if I have all those things in my pantry. Just start adding them slowly, like
Yeah.
maybe one item a month that you can
Mm-hmm.
add to, and maybe like for the month or for the year of 2025, it's a goal of having all these things by the end of the year. Like if you
Yep.
just bought one or two of them, every
Yeah.
grocery haul. But now let's talk about some kitchen tools that are definitely like our go-tos. Andrea cooks a ton more variety than I do, so some of these things I would never use, but some things that I do use. So first one,
Mm-hmm.
like a stock pot, heavy
Yes,
bottom.
this absolutely has to be a heavy bottom stock pot. I just bought one on Amazon that I cannot recommend highly enough. It is you don't have to go out and spend a crap ton of money. I do believe in buying the best that you can afford when it comes to cookware, but sometimes you just don't need to. Um, you can just go with the cheaper, often not the cheapest, because you do want a really heavy bottom on the stock pot because it'll cook evenly
Mm,
and you can leave it on for hours at a time. This is how I make my bone broth. This is how I make all of that stuff is in this giant stock pot. I'm gonna get the name. I think it's a Cuisinart, but I just want to make sure.
okay.
Um,
Yeah, we'll link it
and
in the show notes. And then
yeah.
I have probably now that I've had it, I have a probably 100-year-old cast iron skillet
Oh, that's
that I
awesome.
got passed down from my grandmother. We literally that's the only thing that we use. I don't use anything
Mhm.
else. I know you use like a stainless steel or what? I don't know what you
I
use.
do. I have a stainless steel. I think that's also a Cuisinart, maybe. But yeah, I love my stainless steel, but I also love my cast iron. And if you haven't gotten rid of your nonstick, get rid of
Get
it.
out.
There's so many forever chemicals
Yep.
in there.
Actually, on
Yeah.
this Black Friday, I finally replaced my stupid saucepan with some stainless steel
Nice.
saucepans. So
Yeah.
I don't
Oh,
use
it.
I don't use them a ton, but I was like tired of having it,
Mhm.
and I was like, forget it. Like it was like 30. Actually, no, I got it at Costco. I had bought them on Amazon, and then I went to Costco, and Costco had a saucepan and a like with the two handles on the side pot
Huh. Yeah.
for $30. It was on sale for the
Oh,
2 of
wow.
them. And so I was like, "Okay, that's" and the ones that I had actually ordered on Amazon were like $40, and it was not even as good of a deal. So anyway, I replaced that, so I'm excited. So now all my cookware is, there's no there's no, nonstick stuff in my kitchen now.
Awesome.
Um,
Awesome.
but
Yeah,
yeah,
that's what
having
I
some
recommend.
saucepans, so, like, those are great for, like, cooking your rice, heating up your
Mhm.
sauces, like, tomato sauce or cooking up some pastas. Those are
Okay,
just kind of
did you
non.
gloss over the Dutch oven?
No, I was getting back to it.
Oh, okay, because
Yeah,
I
'cause
can't live without mine.
the Dutch oven, so I use that on a weekly basis. My sourdough starter has been weird lately, so I haven't not been making my
Hmm.
sourdough as regularly as I was, but this whole past year, I've been every week I would use my Dutch oven for
Mm,
my sourdough bread. But yeah, I love my Dutch oven.
yeah, I do too. In fact, I don't make roasts in the crock pot anymore because they are so good braised in the Dutch oven, and you just can't replicate it in a crock pot. So,
Yeah,
and it's super easy.
yeah. We have a cast iron one, and then I have a I forgot the brand of it, but
Mm.
I have another Dutch oven that
Yeah,
we
so let me tell you guys, you
big.
probably are familiar with the Le Creuset.
Yeah,
I have a Le Creuset, but only because I got it super duper on sale as some crazy color that nobody wanted, and so I don't care.
yeah.
So I have one of the bougie ones, but I also have a Martha Stewart one that I got for like, and it's a big one. It's a big, nice one, and I think I got it for $60. Um, but both of them work flawlessly. So
I have a
don't feel
Staub,
like you have to spend a lot. What is it?
Staub.
Oh, yeah, those are nice. I
So
think
I
those are
got it
nice,
on.
right?
Yeah, they're really nice. I got mine on super sale on
Mhm.
QVC. Like
Oh, yeah.
it's a really nice one, and I got it for like I think $80. Like
Mhm.
it was a really good steal. Like they're like 200 some dollars.
Oh,
And
yeah. Yeah.
it was on major sale. So look for sales, especially this time of year. Like
Oh, yeah.
I mean, everybody's having sales. So
Mhm.
definitely a Dutch oven. Now, let's talk about crock pots. So, I love my crock pot. I
Yeah.
use it all the time, but some things that have been popping on my gram lately is the
Oh, I know.
toxicity of the crock pot. So, talk to us about this.
Yeah, you put that on there, and that has not come across my feed, so I
Oh,
don't
really?
even know what this is talking about. Yeah.
Okay. So I was like, "Oh my gosh, I need to look into a stainless steel crock pot. Those
Oh,
freaking things are
gosh.
like
Yeah, no.
$400."
I'm not
And
doing
I
that.
was like, "There is no
Mm-mm.
way. I am sorry, but I will
No.
take the little bit of toxicity that whatever my crock pot is feeding me."
Yeah. And here's
So
the thing, like, they make these, oh my gosh, they make these plastic inserts for
no.
crock pots so that
Yes.
you don't have to clean anything. Do not use
No.
those. Don't cook your food in
Do
plastic.
not warm your food up in plastic.
Right. No plastic with your food, especially, there I do have some plastic containers that I will store some foods in, but it's only like, half of an onion if I didn't use the whole thing, or an avocado that I'm never going to heat up.
Right. So
So,
the
yeah.
big thing is that you don't wanna heat your food up
Right.
with plastic.
Exactly.
So if you have Tupperware that's plastic, please, please look into getting that rid of that,
Yeah.
or at least do not warm your food up in it.
And the worst possible combination is fat or
Oh,
oil and
yes.
heat
Mhm.
and plastic.
Yep,
That is like the trifecta.
yep. One that I honestly I will never use, but I know a lot of families will use this, and I know
Oh, I
Andrea
love this
uses a
thing.
ton,
Mhm.
is the Instapot.
Yeah.
She loves it, so
Yep.
have
Chicken
at it.
breast.
Yeah.
I make a lot of chicken breasts in there. Yeah.
And then what I use, and it sounds like you don't necessarily use as much, is the air fryer. I use my air fryer all
Mhm.
the time. I have the one, it's the Ninja
Ninja? Yeah.
brand
That's what I
where
have.
it's like a 10 in 1 type thing. So it's
Oh,
a
okay.
convection oven, an air fryer, a
Mm.
oven, a toaster. It's all kinds of things, and
Mhm.
I use it all the time. Um, and then there's a new one that I really want. It's the glass bottom Ninja air fryer.
Oh, I know. I know.
It's like
I
150
know
bucks.
because the air fryer is, it's a nonstick surface.
Yeah.
So you're getting nonstick chemicals in your food. I don't use it for anything except for, like, we use it for chicken wings. I've got a kiddo that uses it for chicken wings, but
Yeah.
not super often.
Right. And then a cheese grater, that's a non-negotiable in our house. So
Yep.
we do not anymore buy the pre-grated cheese. We
Mhm.
buy blocks of cheese and grate it ourselves. If you look
Mhm.
at the ingredients on the pre-grated cheese, there's a lot of fillers. Um,
Yeah,
because
there's an antifungal in there too.
uh-huh.
Do you know
So
that? Yeah. I think it's
yep.
natamycin or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So we grate our own cheese. Cookie sheets. I have some stainless steel ones. I don't know
Mhm.
what you have. I also have a stone one that I like. Parchment paper, um, mixing bowl. What do you feel about how do you feel about um tin foil?
Well, gosh, I know. Tinfoil is not perfect. It's actually aluminum foil, right?
Right.
Um, it is not perfect. Aluminum is not great. Um, aluminum is a neurotoxin. So, wherever that discussion goes, but aluminum is a neurotoxin
Might be another
and
podcast.
or not.
Yeah.
So, anyway, yeah, aluminum foil not great. It is preferred. Parchment paper is preferred. But here's my issue.
Hmm.
Parchment paper is expensive.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of ridiculous. So I've been using a lot less aluminum foil and I just clean the cookie sheet. Like
Yeah.
it's a pain in the butt. It takes a little longer, but I just clean it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Mixing bowls. I love my
Mm.
stainless steel mixing bowls.
I have to have these. I have 4 of them. They are in constant rotation
Yep.
every day of the world.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yep. Love them. Um, Costco will have some on sale. Like you can
Mhm.
get a
Yep.
4-pack with the lids for like
Mhm.
$20.
Yeah, and
That
those are fine, but listen, don't feel like you have to have them with lids because
mm,
I don't, and I just have the cheap stainless steel nested mixing bowls. They're all enormous.
yeah.
Like every one of them, they're enormous. They don't come with lids. I use them for everything.
Yep.
So don't feel like you have to get and sometimes the ones with the lids, they become a little cumbersome to store because all of a sudden you've got all these lids and where am I going to put these things and they got to be stored close and then you don't want to lose the lids. I don't know. It just
Yeah.
seems like too much fuss.
But definitely stainless steel is
Yeah.
our preferred method. And then of course having
Mhm.
a good set of knives
Oh my gosh.
and
This
yeah.
is this is my number one with the bullet. Like
Didn't you just pick yours up yesterday
I
and went to
did,
trash?
I did. I have a knife guy finally. Yes, I have I really like to have a knife guy or gal, whoever's sharpening my knives. This dude is insanely talented. And if you're local and you want to know who my knife guy is, let me know cuz I will very happily turn you on to him. Yeah, find yourself someone because this is a skill. Like this is a craftsman's skill to be
Mhm.
able to put a really good edge on a knife so that it will hold because I get my knives sharpened like once a year and
Okay.
they are in use every single day of the
Oh yeah.
world. So make sure you have sharp knives. Really, really dangerous to be doing a lot of chopping with dull knives.
Watch your fingers.
Yep, and I suggest that you have a chef's knife. I like Japanese chef knife. That's my absolute go-to and favorite. Wusthof and like the German and American made chef's knives, I feel are too heavy for
Mm.
the kind of chopping that I do, and for the size of my hand. So I really, really prefer the Japanese ones. Um,
We have a Damascus steel one that a friend
okay,
of ours handmade, and it is a glorious.
okay,
So we love
yeah,
that one.
yeah.
But
Yeah, whatever feels good in your hand,
yeah,
that's what you want to. And so I think mine is by Shun, but ugh, I love this thing. I use it constantly.
yeah,
Also, you want a paring knife. So these are
yes,
really the 2 that get the most use in my house.
same. Yep. Other than our steak knives, because we eat a lot of steak.
Well, yes,
Um,
yes.
and
Hey,
then
I want
oh,
to put chopping board next on there
okay.
because this goes along with the knives. There's a
And
lot of
let's
microplastics.
yes, let's talk
Um,
about chopping boards because obviously we have several wood ones, but then the plastic ones, ugh.
Yeah. So I really like the plastic ones. I have used the plastic ones for years until until the microplastic
Yes.
data started coming out, and it's like, "Oh my
Uh-huh.
gosh, one more thing that I have to change out." I hate wood cutting boards. I hate it. They're so cumbersome. I don't want something that costs me a lot of time and work.
Yeah.
I would much rather spend that time in the kitchen
Well, and you don't wanna
cooking.
be cutting meat on them.
Well, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
because you'll get bacterial reserves on there, and it's just gross. So, yeah, I don't like wood chopping blocks. They look great. I mean, they're beautiful, right?
Okay.
But they also will help your knives keep an edge. I know that wood blocks are better for your knives, but I have found there is a foam core Japanese chopping board that I got that it's super bougie, but I love it. It's supposed to help your knives keep an edge. It's not plastic. It's I love this thing, and I'm trying to remember what it is. I think they sell them at, like, Cooks Illustrated. I think they have them in their store, but I found it a lot cheaper just by going online. So, yeah,
Well, send
look
it
up
over and we can
Japanese
look.
cutting boards. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I'll try and
Um,
find it.
yeah, we got rid of it and now I can't remember. It was a, like a blackish material.
Mhm.
It was not plastic. I don't know why we got rid of it. Um, but I really liked that one. I don't know if it was a good one or not, but I would have to
Yeah.
look it up. But um,
Yeah,
yeah,
I
these.
will I'm gonna try and find it. And the big thing is
Oh,
oh,
here it is.
hang on, this is it. MTC. There it is, MTC Kitchen. So if you there's a website, mtckitchen.com. I have the Hasagawa wood core. It's a wood core rubber cutting board. That's what it is. It's a certain type of rubber that it won't dull the edge of your knife,
Okay,
and it also like it heals itself so you don't get a lot of cuts in it.
there you
It's just
go.
amazing substance.
All
So,
right.
yeah.
I just sent you the one that I think I have or had.
Oh,
I
cool.
don't have it anymore, but yeah, cutting boards are great. And you'll use them all the time. I mean,
Mhm.
we use ours nonstop. A vegetable peeler. I don't use this a
Gotta
ton,
have a good one.
but I don't. What do you peel a lot of?
I peel potatoes.
Mhm.
I don't peel carrots as much as I used to because I grow them and so we eat the peels now.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
let's see. Peel it there is a kind, I think it's called Recon, Ricon, but it is absolute oh, it's Rikon. If you get one of these on Amazon, they're super cheap. But they will last you forever and they are so sharp and such a delight to use. Like
Okay.
I don't get super emotional about kitchen tools, but I really, really love this vegetable peeler.
All right. Silicone gloves for ovens, pans. Yeah, I have these. I have like
Mhm.
even the um circular and square ones that just
Oh
look
yeah.
flat.
Yeah.
Um,
Mhm.
so yeah, we use those a lot. Of course, always having a great measuring cup. We have stainless steel ones. You have glass
Yeah,
down.
that's fine too. I like glass or stainless steel. Either one is going to be inert. Just make sure this is the biggest pain that I have the pain point is that the inscriptions will wear off. Like if
Oh,
they're painted on there. So look for indelible marks. I do like metal where it's like etched into the metal so that it never wears off.
yeah, ours are. They have a rubber handle, and that's where they're at. So I don't know.
Mhm.
They don't rub off. So,
Yep.
but yeah,
Yep.
that would be something to look for. And
You
then
put the next one on there. I don't have
we
that.
love our vegetable chopper. So this is it's like a slap chop, but it has a bowl underneath, and you can chop so many vegetables up so fast. We use it a ton for our onions because what we'll do is we'll take our onion, chop them up, and then it's super easy to just have them in a Pyrex in the fridge, and
Mhm.
then we make omelets all the time. So we'll saute our onions and then make our omelets. So we use
Mhm.
our vegetable chopper all the time. It also has a what's the potato slicer thing?
Oh, the mandolin?
It has a mandolin on it, so it's super
Mhm.
easy to chop
Mhm.
vegetables with that. And yeah, we personally use it a ton. So
Yeah. I
they're
have a
super cheap.
mandolin. I use it periodically. It's a, like, take your finger off mandolin.
Yeah,
It's a good one, but yeah, I just I find it easier just to chop stuff up real quick. But yeah, if you're not a chopper, if you're not fast at chopping, either get fast or get a veggie chopper
yeah. I think if you had
because
a
it
veggie
takes a lot
chopper,
of
you
time.
would actually get used to it and like it. It's
I
like
don't think so.
me and my
I
and the
uh
Instapot. I'm not gonna use the Instapot.
Okay, but Ashley, here's the thing. Here's what the veggie chopper cannot do. It cannot give me as fine of a dice on my onion as I like, or
That's
my
fine.
celery. Like I like a super super tiny little dice
Yeah,
on most of my onion chopping.
yeah,
And yeah, it's probably meditative for me too.
probably.
So, yeah.
Um, well, I think that wraps up what we kind of had it. We're
Mhm.
sitting at an hour and 20 minutes. So,
Good
uh,
grief.
so we hope that you found this hour and 20 minutes very beneficial and useful. And like I
Sorry.
said, we're going to put all this into a guide for you guys, kind of like a
Mhm.
checklist. And again, our whole thing is that we are not expecting, or do we find it not economical for you to just go out and purchase all this in one
Yeah.
sitting. Start slow. Just like with
Mhm.
everything else, start slow, add as you can, and just start kind of making up a new pantry as you go. And, we're going to do an episode on like um, easy ways to start kind of doing swaps with things, but this is a
Mhm.
really good baseline for you guys to
Mhm.
maybe stop buying the, I don't know, processed,
Vegetable oils.
yeah, the vegetable oils. Instead of buying those, buy those good oils that we talked about.
Mhm.
So we'll create a list for you, and we'll have links for things that we talked about as well. But just again, start slow, start where you can, and don't feel like you have to start completely from scratch. So
Mhm.
um, if you have questions, or maybe you have a food item in your pantry that you can't live without, we would love to hear from you. So, as always, our contact information is in the show notes. We love hearing from you, but we love having new ideas because
Mhm.
we're human. We get stuck in our ways, and sometimes, like just like the blackstrap molasses, like Andrea had thought
Mhm.
about, like, oh my gosh, it piqued our memory, and we throw it back into our rotation. So
Yeah.
check out the show notes again for our contact information, and we will see you on the next episode.
Bye. The content provided in the AA podcast is intended for informational and educational purposes only. The podcast is not a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the advice of your physician or other qualified health provider with any questions you may have regarding a medical condition. The information and opinions expressed in this podcast are solely those of the individuals involved and do not constitute medical advice.